Hello everybody, welcome back to the stream. Crazy to think that I was just streaming 12 hours ago, isn't it? But we're back again, ready to do some more work. I actually don't know what we'll be doing today, so we'll figure that out in just a second. But before I get into that, of course I need to remind you all that Gut and Forged is available for purchase. It's linked in the description below. It's a goofy 2D roguelite shooter, so if you're into those kind of games, then check it out. It's a great way to support me. Also, I just released my new course, Create a Complete Online Co-op Multiplayer Game in Godot 4. And this one is doing pretty well so far. Got a bunch of happy students so far. But yeah, this one will teach you the essentials for making multiplayer games, online multiplayer games. So you'll learn server authoritative architecture, remote procedure calls, and all of that good stuff. So again, this is a great way to support me, but it's also a great way to learn how to make multiplayer games. And if you're interested in that, that's also linked in the description below. So I appreciate you checking that out. And what we're going to do today is, I don't know. That's a good question. There's a bunch of bugs that I have actually in the backlog that I would love to address. Oh, the other thing is, yeah, I just remembered last night. So we got a bunch of tweaks here, but also last night I discovered a problem with the combat widget. So rework combat widget works when visiting various events. So that's going to need to be done. Okay, anyway. Hello, iCode stuff. I have awakened. Yes, indeed. Hello, Vaughn. Welcome back. Good to see you as always. Coding marathon when the GMTK jam starts in just a handful of weeks here. Welcome back, by the way, Aniki. Hello, Caucus Map. Welcome. Good to see you. Vector3 Cat, welcome back. Lucas, good to see you again. I'm actually early for once. Good morning. Yes, good morning to you. How can I make a grand strategy turn-based game with Godot? Is there any good tutorial? The ones on YouTube are not very explanatory. So the thing about that is that if you want to find a good tutorial, it's going to have to come from somebody who has experience building turn-based games like that, like a grand strategy game. And my impression is that that's not a very, relative to other genres, that's not a very popular genre. So the chances that you're going to find a Godot developer who has an intimate knowledge of making grand strategy games and is willing to produce a course or a video series going over that is extremely low. So I think, unfortunately, you're probably going to have to be the pioneer in this realm, if I had to guess, and just kind of go about it yourself and see what you learn just by trying to do it yourself and piecing together whatever useful information you can find from other tutorials. So that would be my impression anyway. I could be wrong. There could be some grand strategy wizard game developer out there that knows exactly what to do, but my guess is that you're probably not going to find that. Hello, Nikesh. Welcome. Good to see you. Did you consider adding the effect thing I suggested? Where the, oh yeah, where the, yeah. What am I doing? Yes, I remember you making that suggestion, but I haven't done that yet. So maybe I will just, I should create like a, let's create a new column. We're going to call it Polish. And we're going to put it in here. Add explosion effect prior to burn away in resurrection screen. Okay. Let's put this over here. This is the Kanban plugin for Obsidian, yeah. And welcome, Wooius. Welcome, welcome. That's a fun name to say. It is a Kanban plugin, yeah. It's very useful, but let's rework how this combat widget works. I think I was in the middle of doing that when I was too tired last night. Okay, so I want to change how this drawer UI works. Okay, so let's do this. Signal, public, delegate, void, map, entered, event, handler. So we're going to want to emit that. So enter state map, map entered event handler. No, what am I doing? Emit signal map entered. We're going to get rid of anywhere where I'm doing drawer UI, where I'm controlling the drawer UI directly. And so actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of this drawer UI there. And that will tell me all the places where I'm referencing it. And that will tell me what I need to do. Oh, shoot. I guess I'm going to need a reference to that still. Never mind. Okay, so map entered. Where am I using drawer UI? Force expand, enter state boss. Emit signal boss entered. We'll get rid of this. Signal public delegate void boss entered event handler. Okay, enter state event. We are doing this event, so we can do this. Drawer UI force expand, enter state combat preparation. Let's do signal public delegate void combat entered event handler. Where was that? Here. Emit signal combat entered. So now in my drawer UI, we're going to connect to that. Var run manager is equal to run manager is equal to this dot get run manager. Run manager dot map entered plus equals on map entered. Run manager dot boss entered plus equals on boss entered. Run manager dot combat entered plus equals on combat entered. And this one might actually need to change. Enter state combat preparation. Enter state combat setup. What is the difference between combat setup? Oh, I can do this. Here. Why is this hide map still here? Map fade out. Hide map and then show map. Oh goodness, that's a little bit weird. Okay, well, I'm gonna probably fix that as well, but we'll leave that alone for now. So when we enter the combat entered, create combat widget. So I think what I'll do is I'll pass along the enemy board here. And then this needs to go after we create the enemy board. Yeah. This create combat widget. Start combat pressed on start combat pressed. Shoot. Okay. Combat widget. I need to figure out what to do with that too. Okay. Maybe I'll make a global event or something. Yeah, maybe I'll do that. I don't know. I don't know, man. This is a mess. It's a mess. Who wrote this? Anyway. So, what else do I have? map entered, event entered, run manager dot event entered plus equals on event entered. Okay. Private void on event entered, event type, event type. So this here, this is going to be a mess. Hide toggle button. I don't know. It's a little bit tricky. I might change this. We're going to get rid of this public here. Let's get rid of this force expand and force collapse, I think. Private void expand for event. Event type. We'll make that nullable. If event type is not equal to null, then what we're going to do is we're going to do this. Expand drawer, event type is not equal to null. Oh man, how is this even gonna work? So we're gonna do expand. Let's do expand for event. Event type. We're going to need to pull this out. Private void create combat widget. Let's return the combat widget here. No. This is a mess. Okay. Board with enemy board. No. Game dot. All right. This is a mess, but that's okay. Expand for event. Play, expand, animation. Play, collapse, animation. We're going to get rid of this remove combat widget here. So anything that's related to removing and adding the combat widget. Okay. So we've got remove combat widget. Okay. I set up Obsidian last night on a sync thing folder. Very nice. Yeah. Yeah, getting that synced up with some kind of backup is ideal. You're welcome, Wooius. Any suggestions for getting started with Obsidian? No, it's very basic. It's just a markdown text editor, so it's pretty straightforward. These stream titles are getting unhinged. Welcome back, Eat. Welcome back, Rookie Tookie. Good morning, Emerson. What are we coding today? We're doing a bunch of tweaking and refactoring today, probably. So, all the scenes hidden in the run, or do you add them as children when you need them and then queue free them? I'm struggling with that part. I'd like to know your opinion on what's best solution. So, anything that needs to stay long-term, like the map. So, the map, because it has a certain state, I'm just hiding and showing the map because it's like a persistent thing that just gets shown and hidden dynamically. But for the individual like combat encounters and whatnot, I am creating those nodes on demand. So that's basically how that's working. Basically, if you have something that, well, the other benefit of freeing and recreating things is that it resets the state, right? So sometimes the state becomes super difficult to manage. So you create an object and a bunch of things happen, and that object has some kind of internal state that it becomes really complicated to try to preserve that object and like reset the state back to the way it should be. A lot of times it's easier just to free it and create a new one so that it's back to its like default configuration. So that's another thing to consider too. Generally speaking, I think yeah, it's just kind of like a judgment call about what you want to do there. Good morning, Adam. Welcome back. MKRD, hello, hello. Fun stuff in this economy? Yeah. No, it's fun. We're having fun, I think. I don't know, maybe not. This is gonna go away. Okay, if with enemy board is not equal to null, then we're going to do these things. gd.print implement me. Oh, I spelled that wrong. Else, we're going to force change to the speed disk and hide the enemy health. Okay. All right. So on map entered, private void on map entered, we are going to do let's do remove. Let's do this. Private void collapse. We're going to do remove combat widget. And then also play collapse animation. So now in here, we'll just call collapse there. Okay. On boss entered. Oh, you know what I just realized? That on boss entered is going to need the enemy board as well. Okay, so boss entered event handler, where's that being done? How in the world was this working? on boss board created. Where is that happening? Oh, I guess it's just happening there. Okay, well. Emit signal boss entered enemy board. Okay. Okay, and then on boss entered, on combat entered. So let's do that. Private void on boss entered. Game.gameplay.board, enemy board. We're going to do event type.combat. Create combat widget with the enemy board. Private void on combat entered. There we go. All right. So I'm sure I messed all kinds of stuff up. But I think this is going to be better now. Okay, so now let's expand for event. I want to do something extra here, which is that in this on event entered, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say if event type is equal to event type.max health. We want to create the combat widget. Well, let's see how badly I broke everything. You're welcome, Marcos. Our dictator tells us we're having fun, we must oblige. Yes, indeed. Fun must be had. Hello, Arion, welcome back. Hello, Bavik. I am late. That's okay. Not very late. I see new fancy icons. Oh, are you talking about the crowns in the chat? When will we get a Firebelly Discord server? Soon, soon. Right around the time when I'm ready to release the public playtest is when I'm going to do it. Yesterday, you mentioned code generation for custom attributes. Is that something special you set up or a standard C# practice? Yesterday was my first day in C#, so still learning. I think it's pretty common source generation. So it's definitely something that C# supports with a certain setup and configuration. Godot actually by default uses source generation quite heavily. So whenever you see me doing, for instance, here, emit signal event entered, this is a function that was generated by C# source generators from Godot. So this is the generated code here. And all this is really is, you can see that this is in a .generated.cs file. This creates a method in my class automatically for me that emits the signal with the proper arguments. So the C#, the Godot C#, what would you call it? The Godot C# tooling generates a ton of stuff for you under the hood. And that's the reason why you need to use this partial. So this partial keyword basically says that this class, this run manager class, is split up across several files. So one of the files is this run manager script signals.generated, right? And you'll see up here that this also has partial class run manager defined here. But this is all from Godot. But if I look at wire nodes here, you can see that this is also a generated file .g.cs with partial class run manager here. And that places the wire nodes function inside of my class as well. So when I'm inside of this run manager now, I have access to all those generated methods and properties. So yeah, that's basically how it works. The crowns, yeah, I don't know. YouTube is doing some Twitch stuff. So each comment gets 25 XP, I guess, I don't know. Something that came to mind for future areas, what if you had a previous boss or special encounter wandered the map alongside you, moving every X moves that gives great loot for high difficulty? I definitely want to include more like dynamic map events. Like I definitely want to have stuff able to happen like when you're on your way to a node, like you might get ambushed or something. I would love to do something like that. So that's a good possibility for sure. Spamming. Does generation happen when you build a solution? No, it does happen when you build a solution, but it also happens in the background automatically. So as I create signals here, those generated methods are created in the background as well. Hello, Baba. Love your work, and I'm using your Godot utilities library. C# is awesome, but I'm getting headaches writing actual gameplay code with like individual enemy logic. Yeah, it can be a lot to get into. Baba is you. Yeah, welcome to the stream, Baba. Good to see you. Let's build and see if I got any build errors. It's very windy right here where I'm at right now. Let's see what broke. Let's see what broke. Okay, so that still shows up, and it doesn't go away when I unexpand it. So let's fix that. Where am I at? If not is drawer expanded, we're gonna play expand animation, create combat widget, get rid of this. Okay, let's try that. Let's try that. Okay, so now if I expand, we got the combat widget, and if I go away, it doesn't work. What in the heck, man? Oh wait, can I just do collapse? Yeah. Why can't I use expand for event? I probably should just call that. Hello, Pocket Pixie. I do remember you. Yes, of course. You're one of the best instructors for Godot. Godot is basically like Blender. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. How do you approach writing logic in scenes relying on composition? For example, a specific enemy's behavior and its relationship with child nodes, such as weapon, health, hitbox. So the way that I do the composition is that I always create like a bespoke script for the root node that leverages all of the components and ties them together. So it's not dissimilar to how you do it with just like the standard Godot nodes, right? You construct a scene, you put all your nodes in the scene that you want, and then you need a script that leverages the functionality of all those nodes to actually create the result you want. Well, that pattern is functionally the same when you're using your own components. It's just what you're doing is you're essentially extending a node library, you could call it, that contains like gameplay specific components. But then you still need like a root script that leverages the functionality of all those components. So that's the way that I do it. So like in Gunforged, I use composition very heavily for all of my entities. And then what the root node ended up being is that I wrote a state machine for each different enemy type that leveraged the things like the pathfind component, the velocity component, the hitboxes, so on and so forth. But there's a lot of stuff that's like rote and repeated, so you can actually hook components up to each other. So you could say, well, my hitbox component has a reference that it can accept to a health component, and then it's just going to automatically apply whatever damage it receives to the health component. So that way I don't need to write any new code for that. So yeah, you can do stuff like that too. When I first saw Godot, I saw its potential. That's why I switched from Unity to Godot back in 2023. Now it's taking off. I love Godot. Yes, I love it too. Yep. Everyone is number one. Is that so? But yeah, I love Godot too. I absolutely adore the engine, even with all of its quirks. I love creating mockups for games, sometimes for games I don't ever end up creating. That can be fun, yeah. I was working on something like that a couple weeks ago, but that game will probably never see the light of day. I was just doodling. Then combine it with Suno and you got a good thing going. Yeah, the Suno music, yeah. Hello, Rentar. May I ask why your game's so dark in color? That's just the color palette I chose. It might be hard to see on the stream depending on what your device brightness is, but when the playtest rolls around, I'll see what people are saying about the darkness. I may have to just brighten everything or have an option in the settings to brighten everything. Morning, just arriving for today's fun. Welcome, Julio. Good to see you again. And the first phrase is, it doesn't work, man. Couldn't relate more, yeah. Taking 15-minute break, then switching over to programming. You're going to be the next Notch. Am I going to be the next Notch? Will I sell my game to Microsoft for $2 billion? One can dream, I guess. Dude, if Microsoft approaches me with a $1 billion offer to buy my game, I'm selling out. So you guys should be prepared for that. There's going to be no purity of conscience here. Oh, you want to give me $1 billion? Yep, have it. Here you go. Take all my work. Without the answers. Yeah. 5 minutes programming, 20-minute breaks. My productivity has never been better. Yep. My work rate is 4 hours of programming and 2-week break. There you go. Yeah. Actually, I've been leveraging Claude a lot, especially for my consulting job, my part-time engineering job. Sometimes, like, I know exactly what needs to happen, so I'll just say, hey, Claude, do all this, and then I'll walk out of the room and, like, go get a drink or something, and come back, and it's basically done, so. For real, yeah. My work rate is 2-hour coding, 2-week distro hopping, yeah. You need to pack some weight. Yeah, that's true. Maybe I can be the next, well, never mind. Who's the founder of Ethereum? He's very thin. Just keep working on your projects. Hello, Moondog. Welcome back. 98.9% accuracy rate. Well, I hope you do. You need to be more of a moron. I'm helping you because you're Godot C# tutorials. Thank you. Big C#, Sharpie, and Pythonista. Hello, Schlurgy. Welcome back. How do you deal with the lack of GD extensions in C#? I don't really use GD extensions that often. The most important one that I'm using right now is the Steam GD extension, which I actually already have in here. I've got Godot Steam set up here, and I've got the C# bindings loaded in as well. So Steam is already ready to go on this project, believe it or not, with the GD extensions. Yeah, thank you, Pocket Pixie. He's very thin, yeah. Thin, yep. I saw some people talking about the latest Godot survey. 1 in 5 Godot users don't use version control. That's crazy. Yeah, I mean, you can't help everyone, I guess. How do you make the debug screen resizable? I don't know how to fix that. The debug screen. I don't know what you're referring to with the debug screen, Terraplana. Chat is crazy. I know, chat is blowing up. I think Pocket Pixie's working hard for that #1 position. Let's see. Hello, Mihao. Welcome back. AI, things are going faster, yeah. Need to go back to work now? VS Codium has nothing. The only reason why you would even want to use VS Code is the extension library. Yeah. I don't use version control. I just have 15 versions of my project. When you press play in your game to test it. The debug window, I don't know. Are you talking about this window here? Or just the game window here? Is that what you're talking about? #1. I just copy and paste my project for version control, yeah. Version control killed my grandma. Oh, the game wall. You probably have the game tab enabled. So what you can do is you can uncheck this in the game tab, embed game on next play, and that just creates it as a standalone like native window that you can resize. If you have this on and it embeds the window, I think you can do this in a pop-out manner. make game workspace floating, so you can make this pop out as well. But typically, I think the screen resolution is locked, so you'd have to change this option to keep aspect ratio, and that will make it bigger as well. So, depends on what you want to do. I just don't really like the game window that much. I don't find it that useful, so I just uncheck all these things. And then I use the native window. Okay, so that's working. Let's see if the screen comes up. Yeah, so that's working, and that's got the enemy configured. Let's just make sure combat is working properly. That's funny. Yeah, you're welcome. Oh yeah, you're welcome for, I know you didn't say thanks. Oh, there you go. You're welcome for, I was getting ahead of myself. Instead of vibe coding, that's called cage coding. Oh, interesting. Okay, so this doesn't work. I should be seeing implement me spams in here. Yeah. Okay, so I think it's mostly working. So the next thing that I want to do is I'm going to go to my game UI, and I don't believe, if I look at my game UI, I don't believe this is used anywhere anymore. It's not, so I can get rid of this. And then I'm going to go to my game UI here. And I'm going to get rid of this combat widget placeholder. And also, did I get rid of the reference to it? No, let's get rid of that there. Okay, so we're cleaning things up a little bit. So now I think what I need to do is I need to do game events, public static void emit combat. What is it called? Emit start combat pressed. Public delegate void start combat pressed. So I'm just making this like a global event. So my run manager now. This, let's do game events dot instance dot connect. Enter state boss. Where is this happening? Enter state boss. Create combat widget. And that used to be here. Start combat pressed. Okay, well, I think it's gonna work. I don't know. Okay. So, what am I doing? I don't know. This is a mess. Oh my gosh, chat is moving too quick. What are we working on today? We're doing a bunch of refactoring and tweaks. So, I'll be doing some gameplay tweaks in a moment here after we get this combat widget all set up. One thing I missed from Unity is being able to edit at runtime. Yeah, well, Godot does have a basic version of that, but it's not very good. How long did it take for you to do the arts and animations for this? Looks great. It takes a long time. Probably 50% of my effort has been art. Hello, Snupbill. Thank you for the IDR 10,000. Very much appreciate that. As always, welcome back to the stream. And we have Yummers. I'm eating croissant right now. Wish I had McDonald's. Uh-oh, McDonald's mentioned. Yummers, yes indeed. The real #1 is here. You nixed the romance arc last time. Any update on for getting waifu cards? You are not. No. When you're so locked in, you don't even see the donation in your live stream. Seriously. Gained 35 XP for that dono. Please do not go waifu. No, I'm not going to do it. Now I feel old. I don't know what any of these words are. Congrats on your recovery. A pocket pixie is hilarious. Hello, Firebelly. I'm new here and want to learn Godot, but the C# version. Do you recommend any tutorials? Well, funny you should ask. Hold on. One second. Funny you should ask. I have a Udemy course, which is Godot and C#. So that's linked in the description below. So if you want to purchase that, this is a great option. It's 25 hours of video, but it's a very in-depth exploration of C# with Godot. It's also highest rated, so we'll just leave that there. But yeah, if you're interested, I think this is a pretty comprehensive course. If you're not wanting to purchase anything, then I'm not really aware of any like comprehensive tutorials, but I'm sure you could find something on YouTube. Otaku means fans of mangas and anime and stuff. My artwork sucks, but I just throw that slop into AI. Oh my gosh, the chat is moving too quick. Game Dev Time once again. Yes, indeed. Welcome back, Jackie Daytona. Nothing wrong with being otaku. I don't like anime anymore. Now you got the #1 crown. Yummers indeed. Worst self-ad segue ever. Yeah, it was. Thank you, Pocket Pixie. I appreciate that. Yeah, I think I always see a lot of art that's like very obviously anime inspired. I was wondering if there's any way I could learn to do multiplayer on Godot. Any recommendations? Okay, yeet. All right. I've done enough ads already. All my courses are down below. Chances are, if you want to learn it, there are courses. Why should you use signals in C# when events exist? This is just a preference I have where I don't want to use 2 different observer patterns just to minimize the risk of anything unexpected happening. I'd rather stick to using one. So I would either use C# events or use Godot signals. But since you have to interface with Godot signals anyway from like the built-in nodes, I just stick to the signal pattern. Again, that's just a preference. C# events work fine, but yeah, I just don't want to mix and match different observer patterns and then have like different behavior in some situations. I think that's a great way to introduce some kind of weird issues. Better to stick with the one that will be consistent across the code base. I will check your course out. Do you think there's any difference between C# and GDScript or just preferences? Yeah, it's just preference if you like C# better. For global autoloads, do you recommend referencing with getNode or .instance? I usually make them, in C#, I make them static. And then use, reference the static instance member. Chat is moving too fast, yeah. Let my man do his work. I'm gonna go back to work here soon. I'm gonna go back to work here. All right. Anyway, I forgot what I was doing. Oh, I think I just need to make sure this combat widget works. Okay, I'm gonna ignore chat now for like 5 minutes. Okay, so that's all working. That's good. The one thing that I wanted to try is if I go into the health, that should open up my, yeah, so now I can see that. And if I do this, it updates the health and then it slides out. Perfect. And it does the same thing here. Alchemy, I don't need to see my health in the alchemy, so that's good. Okay. Increase board size. I'm just going to keep moving around. Skip. Skip. Grab an artifact here. Oh, I'm probably going to lose this one. Oh, I forgot. Yeah, okay. That's what I was doing. I need to admit that combat started. Let me think. Do I need to use the traditional signal? I don't think so. I'll start combat pressed. Okay, let's see if that works. Okay, villager. Let's see if this works now. If I do this, it didn't work. Son of a bee. Why isn't it working? Oh, oh, I still have a combat widget. Oh. Uh-oh. Combat widget changed to speed disk. Oh. I think what I can do in here is when the combat starts, I can change to speed disk. Enter state player resurrected. Oh. So I'm gonna have to test the resurrection as well. I don't need that anymore. Okay, so I need to change the speed disk when the combat starts. So game events.instance.connect. Combat started. Callable it from on combat started. Private void on combat started. If not is instance valid. Combat widget return. Otherwise combat widget dot change to speed disk. Okay, so that should work. Oh, you know what? Did I combat widget? Okay. So basically just disentangling all kinds of different state here. But that should work. Okay, great. And this should still work too. Very nice. So now I gotta try dying here. So let's see if I die. Okay, so now if I resurrect, what needs to happen is that needs to change back to the start combat button. Yeah, so that needs to switch back. So state combat preparation. I think I'll do that. Signal public delegate void player resurrected event handler board enemy board. All right. So where is that happening? Resurrected, enter state player resurrected. What? Oh, I don't know why I put a board in there. Oops. Why doesn't this work? Oh, there we go. Okay, so now in here, run manager dot player resurrected plus equals on player resurrected. On player resurrected. I think I just need to do change to combat in there. Let's see what that does. Oh goodness, so much chat. I might skip over some messages. Sorry in advance. Wish my pixel art were better. Any tips? I don't know if you're trolling, Emerson, but if it's a genuine question, the only reason I say that is because I've mentioned this multiple times. So I don't know if you're just messing with me, but I do have a pixel art tips video on this channel. How to get good at pixel art with no art skills. So you can give that a watch if you're interested. Why am I using C#? Just for personal preference. What do you think about using VS Code with GDScript? I think VS Code with GDScript works really well as long as you get the proper extensions. Join an art server. Yeah, art server can help for sure. Locked in, yes. What do you think about using Godot with another language like Rust? I mean, if it works, it works. I don't know. I don't really have any strong opinions about that. Whatever, my opinion is whatever makes you the most productive is what you should use. Wow, welcome, by the way, Samet. C# is a bomb. Everyone has energy today and I just cannot relate. It's Thursday. It's Friday 1. Do you know any good art server? Oh, that's not for me. I don't know any good art servers. Your courses are focused on 2D, but I wanted to focus more on 3D. Do you think it will have a lot of differences between 2D and 3D? Let's say in your multiplayer course. I think most of the difference is just going to be obviously what nodes you use, but also, you know, there are things like textures that are a little bit different in 3D and also like environment details like skyboxes and lighting and stuff. So a lot of the skills are going to be transferable to 3D, but there's going to be a lot of stuff that you'll have to learn also for 3D. Is it right to use autoloads as a temporary memory of the game to store some variables and stuff for easy transition between nodes and scenes? I don't think the concept of autoload and temporary goes together because, again, you're going to have to manage that state. The ideal position you want to be in is like when you create your main game scene, all of the state gets reset to its default state. And if you have data that's floating around in autoload that... So let's say you're making a roguelike game like I am. If I have a bunch of data floating around in an auto load that's controlling the game state, and then I end the run and I start a new run, I have to be really careful to make sure that the state in that auto load gets reset completely so that none of the old state affects the new run. That can be very dangerous if you don't stay on top of it. So what I do instead is I have this like main scene with a run manager. This run manager is the global state management that lasts for the duration of that particular run. But once I free this scene, for example, when the run is over, and I go into a new run manager gets created with brand new state. So I'm practically guaranteed that when I start a new run, there is going to be no state left over from the previous run that could inadvertently affect my current run. So that's why you want to be really careful. I would say if you feel a need to store temporary data in an auto load, you probably should look for a different solution. That's my opinion. GDScript is only for Godot. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, okay, so you were egging me on to do the video ad. This is why I like these streams, trying to pick up some C# knowledge. I'm not planning to change from Godot anytime soon. I don't think that learning a different language is going to be hard. If I have programming fundamentals down, so I stay with GDScript. Yeah, that's right. If you've learned one programming language sufficiently enough, you've learned all of them. With some notable exceptions, but generally speaking, the logic and the skills are the same. Hello, Himanshu. I'll be honest, Pocket Pixie, I don't know what you're talking about at all. I have no idea what's going on in anime. I am not a, what's the word? The otaku thing? Hello, or no, I don't need to say hello to you, Emerson. Having it harder can make you learn faster. That's true. Yeah, the more you draw, for sure. Friday Eve, yeah. Board game suggestions, like actual board games. I don't know, I'm just really basic. The only thing I know of is like Catan. $2D is easiest to do, you think so? What's the difference between signal plus equals and game event signal.connect? I thought they were synonymous. They aren't, because one of them is using the C# like event style syntax, and the other one is using, I don't know how to explain it, like the Godot API more so. So there's a problem where so let's say you have a node that's emitting a bunch of signals, and then one of its children nodes wants to connect to that signal using the plus equals syntax. The problem is if the child node ever gets freed, the signal does not get unsubscribed from the parent object. And so what's going to happen is every time the parent emits a signal from that point onward, it's going to throw an error because the object has been disposed, because it's pointing at a function that no longer exists because it's been freed. So that's the danger of using the plus equals syntax. So you have to be very careful about that. But if you use the game events, or if you use the signal.connect method, then Godot manages the signal connection for you, meaning that when the child gets freed, it also unsubscribes from whatever signals it was listening to, guaranteed. So that's something you need to be aware of. This is actually especially important with the game events. So if you have a global game event like autoload that emits signals, it's going to be there permanently, and everything else that connects to it is possibly or probably going to be temporary, in the sense that it's going to be freed at some point during the life cycle of the game. And so if you're using the plus equal syntax to connect to a signal that's emitted globally, you are going to encounter those object disposed issues. So if you have a global signal bus, like I do, just always use the .connect, and that will help. Or you just have to be careful to unsubscribe. You have to use the minus equals to unsubscribe whenever the node is being deleted or whatever. But it's just easier to use the connect. Yeah. Yeah, you can use autoloads for that. Only autoload I ever used was a signal bus. Looks like I need to refactor. Thank you, you're welcome. Do I consider releasing your games on mobile platforms? Not really, no. I don't like mobile gaming at all. I don't do basically anything on my phone. Except like check email and text people. So, but I mean, this game might be a good port to mobile, but we'll see. Yeah, that's true, Vector. Yeah. Doom scroll cat reels. No. I don't have Instagram, I don't have TikTok, I don't have. Yeah. Nope. Keep me away. I think Brave browser also blocks YouTube shorts by default, which is great. So what am I doing? Oh yeah, I need to check that the player resurrected works properly. Is it true that Google doxes you if you register a dev account? I don't know. Okay, let me go and lose real quick. Oh, I didn't lose. Cool. I'm not going to lose to this one either. Will I lose to this one? Yes, okay. So now if I resurrect, this speed disk needs to change back to the combat disk. Okay, it changed back. Cool, and I can start again. Excellent. Now the last thing to test real quick is to test that when I go into a boss fight, it works properly. Actually, let's just do this. I lost. Let's just make sure the resurrection still works. Okay, cool. Cool. All right, I think that's working. So, rework how combat widget works. Okay. All right, so that's done. So I've got a bunch of bugs and tweaks that I want to make. There's a bunch of bugs to fix too. So we'll do the tweaks and then we'll fix the bugs. So it's going to be a kind of a bug fixing thing. All right, let's see. Good morning, Michael. Welcome back. How do you make a game dev feel like playing games? I don't know what you mean. If you want to elaborate on that question. Lots of distractions. I don't even have Discord anymore. Yeah, that's been my main resistance to creating a Discord server. It's just like I have everything turned off. Like I don't get hardly any notifications on my phone. I manually check my email. I don't get email alerts. It's just, I'm just so sick of everything like grabbing my attention. So if I had a Discord server, I would feel like I would have to hop in there regularly and respond to people. So yeah, I think C# does not support for mobile export. No, I think mobile is fine. Your other name is Dragon Fairy. I'd play this on my phone, add a dopamine spiking animation for unlocking new cards and give me microtransactions. Okay, all right. I heard that you have to show your address whenever you publish a game on Play Market for solo devs. It's literally doxing. I think you might be able to get around that. Like there are services where you can buy like virtual addresses. So for instance, if you do email marketing with a commercial intent, you are required by law in the United States to list a physical address on the email. And it doesn't have to be your address. It doesn't have to be your home address. It can be any address that you like are entitled to. And so what I do is I pay like $10 a month for a virtual address that is just like in some like office supply store somewhere. And that's the address that I use for my email marketing. So I think you probably could do the same thing for Google Play. I don't know if they require your residency. They just require a physical address, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure this is still the case. Yeah. Rather just get a function, reset everything in the autoload and call it whenever needed. Just feels right and easy thing to do. I mean, you could do whatever feels good to you. Yeah. Just my personal opinion is that I would rather avoid that. Even if I don't play on phones, there's a big market out there. That's true. Wish Nintendo would stop suing small developers. For anyone in chat, if you made a grenade-like projectile, did you give it a character body 2D or just simple node 2D? Well, my projectile motion will look good, but editing GP is finicky. I don't know what GP is, but yeah, Schlurgy, I just use kinematic motion for my... So the kinematic physics equations for doing projectile or parabolic motion, and then I usually just make it a node 2D. So it follows that parabolic motion trajectory every frame, and then once it gets to its endpoint, it can like trigger the explosion or whatever happens. Hello, Ruin Star. Caught you on another live stream. Yes, welcome back. What software is your checklist on? Obsidian. How do you make game dev feel like fun? Oh, I don't know if you can like do anything to make it feel fun. I think you just kind of have to get in a frame of mind where you enjoy it. It's not, I wouldn't say it's like fun moment to moment. The word I would use is very fulfilling. So yeah, it's going to be fun sometimes, and other times it's going to be hard, but you got to learn how to deal with the hard parts of game dev, and you will start to enjoy that in a sense if you're disciplined enough, I think. I know that's probably not a great answer, but I've never heard of Shining Force. I've never played any Nintendo games, really. I'm not very educated in games, even though I've developed them, I guess. I made an auto battle type game recently. Instead of ticking through each turn during the battle, I calculate the entire battle, then just tick through the results. What are your thoughts on that? I think that's probably fine. Yeah, I think that can work just fine, I think. I don't see any super big issues with that. So yeah, if you're releasing a game for monetary gain, you should probably register an LLC at the very least and use the address for that registration. Leverage your business as tax bennies. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I still need to form an LLC. I think I'm getting to the point where I should do that. But I think XP caps. Yeah. Yeah, Pocket Pixie, I think I love your enthusiasm, but maybe just slow the chat rate a tiny bit. But still appreciate you being here for sure. Only 40 more people in the chat gets to 100. Only 40, yeah, only 40. Global position. Oh, gotcha. Redo myself. Well, the vibe coding might give you the parabolic motion trajectories you need, like if you just don't want to figure out how to implement those. I think that's a good application. Hey, jumping in and out. Hope you're having a good day. I am. I'm trying to get caught up on chat so I can get to the next stage of work here. Played the Gunforge demo last night. Was very fun. Thank you. I appreciate that, Moondog. Wait. What am I doing? Oh, I became much more critical of games I play after I became a dev myself. Before it all felt like magic. Yeah, a lot of the magic goes away once you know how games are built. I think that's something that a lot of developers feel. Atomic Crop is really fun. I've also been told not to play video games anymore. If you're an adult, who's telling you not to play video games? One message for each sentence, yeah. Okay, so I'm going to take a quick 3-minute break, and when I get back, we're going to try to get through that, the bug list and the tweaks list. We'll start with these tweaks here. Make the embalming fluid stronger, make the upgrade only require 1 card, and nerf the boss. Oh, I already did that. So we'll just do those 2 things, and then we'll try to address these bugs here. Hello, A the Ant, welcome back. All right, give me 3 minutes, I'll be right back, and we'll continue on. All right, I'm back. What are we working on? We're going to do some tweaks now. Let's see. Oh yeah, I'm getting to the age now where I'm not able to enjoy games as much as I did when I was younger. Because I always feel like I could be doing something more productive, or I feel like I've seen everything, and like every game is some variation of something I've already played, you know? But there are still some games that grab my attention for sure, but just not as prevalent as it used to be. Playing demos for inspo, yeah. Don't like Discord, only use it when I have to. Good morning. Have a doubt experiment using resources to store the state name similar to a callable state machine. Since I'm using Godot 3x, try to avoid string. The little script to show every function in a script past the editor. Sorry, Marcos. I don't know exactly what you're asking. I'm sorry. Yes, we are going to be adding an end game screen for the boss. Yeah. Do not list your real address. Yeah. Yep. I'll do that for like I buy all my domains through Namecheap as well, like my internet domains, because they have free privacy protection where when you do like a whois lookup on the domain, it just goes to like a Namecheap office somewhere. On other services, you have to pay for that. At least that used to be the case, but Namecheap just gives it to you for free. So if you need a domain and are your privacy concerned, I can definitely recommend Namecheap for that. How am I number one here? I don't know. I don't know. Combine resource with callable state machine. I don't think it's a weird approach. I just don't have details about your implementation. I think it can work. So, but it's just a matter of, I guess, testing it out and seeing if it does work. All right, so let's go to the embalming fluid here. I'm going to have to start ignoring chat more. I'm sorry. Let's turn this up to, let's double it at least. Okay, and make upgrade only require one card. So buff embalming fluid. So yeah, the current upgrade system, upgrade container. I'm going to change this. Oh, wait. No, that's going to work. Okay. So we're going to get rid of this set board dimensions. We'll do 3 by 3 just to make sure that it's accurate. So this upgrade container here, I don't know if I need... Well, it's fine. So we're going to make this only require one card. Because right now the way the upgrade works is it requires 2 cards of the same base type. But that's a little bit hard to get, even in just the current iteration of the game with the low amount of cards that I have. It's really hard to get 2 of the same card in your inventory, and especially for the large cards like the Mosquito Swarm, which is a 3 by 2 card, you're basically going to have no space to store 2 of them. So it's going to feel kind of bad to never be able to upgrade that card. So now what I'm doing is I'm going to change this upgrade screen so that you just put in the card you want to upgrade, and then you can upgrade it. There's no additional requirements. And I think this is probably going to feel a lot better. But I got to figure out what the heck's going on with this logic in here. Is upgradable with card. We don't need that anymore. Where is this validate being called? On card placed. Add a clickable validator. Clickable control.add clickable validator is valid. I'm sorry, Marcos. I'm sorry. I just don't. I don't understand what you're asking. I wish I did. I'm sorry. Hello, A the Ant. Or I already said hello to you, but we got the dab. Godot C Sharp. Yes, indeed. Zen, welcome. What's your best advice for building roguelikes? You know what? I don't feel qualified to give that advice because I'm still kind of trying to figure it out myself. I think I can tell you how I'm thinking about it, but I wouldn't necessarily treat it as advice. I think that the way that I'm designing this game is like just saying yes to everything that sounds ridiculous. So like, should the player be able to buff this card so that it's like super powerful? The answer is yes. You know, this enchantment feels a little strong. Should I really allow that, especially since I have this other card here? Yes. Like, my approach to this game is just like, it's going to be fun if you can create something super powerful. Like, it's going to be super fun if you feel like you're breaking the game. So like, instead of trying to just be like, oh, I got to balance everything so that it's just like super, you know, tight and everything, I'm just going to be like, yes, you can. Yes. Make it ridiculous. Get a card with 20 different abilities on it and a 500% crit chance. Like, do that. That's an open possibility to you. So again, it's not advice. I'm just like, that's the way I'm thinking about this game now. That's kind of how I approached Gunforged as well. But like this game in particular, it's like, I want the player to feel like they're breaking the game, because that's when roguelikes become really fun, right? When you feel like you pulled a fast one over the dev, like, ooh, I found something in your game that you weren't expecting. Bet you didn't think I could do this and deal 5,000 damage, you know? So anyway, we'll see how that goes. But again, that's not advice. Just get started. Don't get into analysis paralysis. Yeah, I think the first thing you should do is like, I think that's kind of where I'm getting at. It's like, make the game feel fun and not worry so much about, is this balanced or is that balanced? Just like, make it fun. And then, you know, you can address any balance concerns later. Gotta go, see you later. All right, thank you, Vector3 Cat. Thank you, thank you. Do you think 1x1 cards are going to be OP in this game because cheap revivals? I have to still refine how the revive system works exactly, but maybe. That's the best advice in general. Probably only remove this approach using resources. It works, but it's a little bit clunky. Gotcha, yeah. Can imagine a cheap revival build where your death is part of the strategy. Yeah, and that's the other thing too. I kind of have to, I don't want to just start adding things with no purpose. Like, I gotta play the game more and understand like how the resurrection system feels and works, and then I can add stuff to it later. For the Omnissiah, I concur with Adam. I'm making a roguelike right now, and I just kind of had to dive in. I've gone back and changed a lot as I've progressed. It's hard to know what will work until you implement it, yeah. Just doing experiments, gotcha. Hello, I'm going to call you Atto, even though I'm sure that's not how you pronounce it. Welcome to the stream. Rule 34, everything can be a roguelike, yeah. Follow the fun and the rule of cool, yeah. Hello, Parallel Highway. Welcome, welcome. You're not going to have a ton of cards to start with, so revival's limited, yeah. FAQ link broke. Is it broke? Did I break it? What's going on, Alien? What's going on? I am weird. Yes. Okay, so let's see. Clickable validator. I think this is basically just going to work now. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. So I'll go to upgrade card. That should be... Why isn't that working? Why isn't that working? Why isn't that working? It should be a red outline if there's no cards on the board. I mean, it's... Sweet. Why isn't that working, though? I don't understand. Do I have something messing with this? Oh, you know what? Maybe the clickable control is not configured. Visibility toggle target. Hammer highlight, anvil highlight. Why am I doing that? Let's get rid of that. I don't need those. Okay, this clickable control now can use the outline target here. All right, let's see what that does. I think that was the issue. Okay, so now it's red. And I go in here, and now I can click it. If I add another card, that's not going to work. So I got to remove that, and then I can do this. Okay, so let me see if that outline animation is playing as well. Perfect. So now it's playing that outline animation too. Sweet. And then if I put this on here. Yeah, that looks good. Sweet. All right. So that should feel a lot better, I think. The other thing that I want to do is this anim error visual positions root. I'm going to get rid of this animation. Remove. And in this play invalid here, we're going to get rid of this, and we're going to do root.play. How did I do it? It was create invalid shake tween. And we can get rid of this anim error up there. That's going to look more visually consistent with everything else that I've got. Perfect. Sweet. Looking good. Atto sounds like a great name, yeah. Anton is correct? Okay. It's actually Anton. Love that the anvil shakes its head no, yeah. Have you ever tried doing 3D? Like once I have, but yeah. Art is good, thank you. Exiting stage left. Hello. Oh, I don't know how to say your name. Guile? Guile? A Guy? Or maybe it's Guy. What am I working on? I'm just doing some tweaks for my game here. But if you're asking what the game is more generally, this is a collectible card game, grid inventory management auto battler wrapped in a roguelite formula with a necromancer / medieval science / alchemy theme, where the hook of the game is that you can alchemize cards together to combine their properties. So you could take two cards that are very different from each other, alchemize them together, and get a new card that has the capabilities of both. I drew the bird on my profile pic. He's my son. Oh, that's very good. I like that. I like that bird. What is the size of, say, the anvil, and how did you arrive to making it that size? Did you base it off the size of your cards? Still trying to understand scaling UI elements compared. Yeah. So the way that I do it is I basically just take a screenshot of my game. So I'll go in here. I'll shrink the window down to its minimum size, which is 640 by 360. I just take a screenshot and then I bring that into Sprite and I just start drawing on that screen. So you can see this in the health very clearly. So I've got all my reference, like my screen reference here, and I know that I want to draw it on this side of the screen. So now that I have everything in context, it's just easier to kind of draw things. So I'm not sticking to like a specific grid necessarily. I'm just drawing things like sort of proportionally to everything else on the screen. Obviously the cards have to stick to a very specific dimensions because they need to fit within the grid. But those are really the only things that I'm super strict about what their dimensions are. Everything else is just kind of like whatever looks good in relation to everything else on the screen is how I draw it. Has multiplayer with Godot gotten better? It has, yes. I mean, I don't know if you're talking about since the high-level multiplayer work. I would love Godot to spend more time doing multiplayer stuff because there's a lot of like pain points involving it, but it's certainly doable to make a multiplayer game in Godot, and it's relatively easy. It just needs a little bit more, I think, official support is the way I would put it. Base your art on the canvas size, yeah. If I do your C# course, can I apply it in Unity as well? Probably not, no. I mean, you'll learn C#, but the Godot way of doing things is going to be much different than the Unity way of doing things. The map is cool, I like the style, thank you. Just realized something, will you ever add inventory size upgrade? I may or I may not. I think the Bazaar doesn't have an inventory size upgrade, that game. But I may end up adding inventory size upgrade. I don't know for sure that yet though. Scrollable inventory sounds like a nightmare. Yeah, I don't know if I would make it scrollable, but there's more space. It could add at least one more column and probably a couple more rows. So what I could do is I could be really evil and I could start the inventory off really small and then make it part of the meta progression to increase the inventory size. Thank you for giving me that idea. I will now be evil and do that. Is it possible to scale an animation speed based on something like move speed? Yeah, if you're using an animation player, there's a speed scale attribute that you can change. Will there be PvP elements? No. No, there will not be. Oh, when did you come up with my color palette? I found it on low spec. There's a color palette gallery on that website. And I just scrolled until I found something, which is this one, which is called Witching Hour, which is awesome. That's super evil. You guys couldn't keep your mouths shut. No, I'm just kidding. I think I will probably do something like that. Relative to add a secondary inventory purely for 1x1 cards. That is an interesting idea. Looks great, thank you. Yeah. So let me see. Make upgrade only take one card. Oh, you know what? I think I need to project. I do want to do a test run before the stream is over. And I do have a... Oh, I don't have a meeting today. Never mind, we can go as long as we want. So those are all done. Let's fix some of these issues. Clicking out of card inspector while combat is paused resumes combat. So this one... So I'm going to go to a combat encounter. So what happens if I go here into the combat and then I start it, but then I pause the speed so that it's not running anymore. And then I go and inspect a card and I close this, the combat resumes. So that's something that I need to fix. How am I going to fix that? Who knows? So this is the card inspector. That's that drawer that slides out. GameSpeedManager.resume. So this is calling GameSpeedManager.resume. Emit signal resumed. Interesting. Public static void pause. I may have to change this to a lock system, or yeah. So let's do this. Public int pause locks. If pause locks is greater than 0, we're going to do pause locks equals 0. Pause locks plus plus. Emit signal paused. Resume. What we're going to do is we're going to do this. Pause locks is equal to mathf.max pause locks minus 1. We're going to prevent it from going below 1. Instance.emit signal resumed. If pause locks is equal to 0. I think that can work. So let's see. Your work looks amazing. Keep it up. I'm Spanish, so no worries about my name. The pronunciation is something like saying "gi" and "ye." Ye? Guille? Okay, guille. But thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you, thank you. Hello, Ito Makes Games. Welcome back. Always good to see you. All right, let's see if this works now. So if I go and I start the combat and I pause it, just make sure all this still works. And then if I do this. Okay, cool. So this appears to be working. So what happens, it's a little bit weird, is that when I change the speed in the speed disk here, actually, I should make sure that doesn't work. Yeah. So even if my pause locks is greater than 1, let's say, anytime I change the speed disk speed, it's just going to automatically resume. So now I want to try one other thing, which is that if I do this and I change this to paused there, and then I go into a combat encounter. Okay, that's not correct. That may be out of date. There's something weird going on here. Why is that not? I want to be able to have the player able to control the speed of the game here, but that appears not to be working. Is it resetting every time? Let's go here. So if I change this to paused and then I go here. I wonder if the start combat, how is this working? Set speed tier. What? Oh, on combat started. Oh, I see. I don't think I'm using this play fade out anywhere. No, I'm gonna get rid of this. Update speed is happening here. Get desired speed disk rotation. Oh. I think this system needs to be reworked, honestly. I think this system needs to be reworked. What? Ugh, this is nuts. This is nuts. Have you seen Playable Workshop? I have not. Well, you add cats to the game. Maybe. Maybe. Yeah, non-Spanish speakers, yeah. That makes sense. Playable Workshop is peak. I don't know what that is. I don't know. I gotta look into that, I guess. Okay, these speed controls are like all over the place. 2 speed settings. Yeah, this is gonna be a little bit weird. Previous speed tier. I guess what I could do is I could say... I just don't know how this is working in here. Update visuals. Is this ever being called with 0? Oh, here, on game speed pause. Oh, I see. So this is going to be a little bit weird, but I think in here what I'll have to do is I'll have to do public static bool is paused is equal to pause locks is greater than 0. And then in here, game speed manager dot is paused question mark 0, otherwise that. Okay, and then in here, oh, you know what? I guess maybe I don't want it to maintain. Maybe I don't want to fix it there. But I think that other fix that I did is going to be good. I guess the reason why I don't have it maintaining the pause state when you go into combat is because I don't want players to click the combat button and then wonder why has the combat not started. So maybe that's okay. But if I do this and I close this and I come back, it didn't maintain that freaking what? Ah, what the heck, man? This is so dumb. Do I have to really debug this? I don't like this. I think the reason why I need to maintain a separate pause state is because the game speed actually affects timer duration, and I can't have a timer with a duration where the denominator is going to be 0, or I can't have a timer with duration 0. So I need to maintain a separate pause state that like actually pauses timers rather than just saying, oh, the game speed is 0, so nothing happens. You know what I mean? So it's a little bit wonky, but okay. Okay, so is this update visuals just never being called? Huh? Speed. Am I in the wrong spot? Oh, wait. I might be editing the wrong file. I am editing the wrong file. What? What? I thought I deleted you. Get out of here. Okay, well that makes sense. I was editing the wrong thing. Pay no attention to me, okay. Update speed. Game speed manager dot is paused 0. Otherwise that. Okay. All right. Never mind. Never mind. Problem exists between keyboard and computer. Makes sense the speed was saved like a config option, having data in an autoload that saves along with the other options. Yeah, that's what it is like currently. I mean, it doesn't persist it to disk or anything, but that's how it is working technically. Okay, there we go. So now it's maintaining the speed pause there. And if I go to speed 3, that should be maintained. So now if I go into my combat here, it should immediately go into speed 3, but then I can pause it here. And this should all still be working where I've got the pause lock and then do this, do that. So now I should go into the second speed setting when I go into the next combat here. Yeah, I think that's working. I really want to make a mouse clicking animation. I've been dying to do that for a while. Am I going to win again? No, I'm not. Okay. The other thing that I want to do is upgrade card container animations. Don't use back tween anymore. All right, all right. So I think I fixed that. So fix game speed manager. It's a YouTube channel run by Godot expert and Godot beginner. Oh, I see. And they teach Godot. Awesome. The way they teach is awesome. I have to check them out. You're telling me I have competition? Unacceptable. But it sucks that I found their stuff when I already have gone through the starting tutorial. Hell, gotcha. What game dev YouTubers do I watch? I watch DevDuck, Mrs. I watch some smaller. I like watching the devlogs that have like 5,000 views. I'm trying to think of the other big names in the Godot space that I watch. I don't know. I can't recall. Hello, Kazori. All right, A the Ant, thanks for joining. Very much appreciate that. And have a good day. Me personally, whenever I find a dev channel I watch it, there's so much creativity out there. There is indeed, yeah. I watch Firebelly, Icebelly, Waterbelly, and DevDuck. Wow. Okay. What do you think of AI and asset creation? I think it's good on placeholders. Yeah, I think for placeholders is probably fine. I'm sure we'll migrate into a situation where like using AI to create textures for like background props is going to be acceptable. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. ChatGPT in particular is really good at generating like reference images. So if you can't find exactly what you're looking for online as like a reference image, you can put in the prompt in ChatGPT and tell it to generate an image basically exactly like what you're trying to reference, and that helps a lot too. Instead of maintaining a different timer state, why don't you instead multiply the delta timer by the speed? Then it can handle a speed of 0. No, you can't have timers that have a 0 duration. That's the problem. I'm using Godot timers. I could write my own custom timer, but I would do the same thing. I only go on video games and teach and learn, otherwise real life, yeah. Keyboard and chair. Oh, keyboard and chair. Keyboard and chair, gotcha. I got it. I said the saying wrong. Dang it. Someone once told me real life is different from cyber life. There's nothing between keyboard and computer, right? Yeah, true. Well, if I lean forward very, very far, maybe. Waterbelly, Firebelly, Airbelly, yeah. Get airbenders. All right, Pocket Pixie. I don't know if anyone knows what you're saying. Sorry to say. Oh, it's still on the anime topic. I don't know anything about anime, but yeah. Timer 0 should just never run. Yeah, Godot won't let you create timers with a duration of 0 though. I really like Firstifer's. Oh yeah, Firstifer's Godot tips and tricks videos. Yep. Yeah. Any plan to expand your social media presence? You're not streaming on Twitch and there's a power void waiting to be filled by wholesome long-haired game devs. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I've said this before, but the Twitch terms of service doesn't let you show chat from other platforms on a Twitch stream. So I wouldn't be able to, like, highlight the chats or show the chats on screen. I mean, I think everyone pretty much ignores that, but at the same time, it's like, I don't want the hassle. What's going on? I looked up a chat and saw, oh, Pocket Pixie. Yeah. Pocket Pixie, I don't know if anyone is, like, following along with what you're saying, so... Again, appreciate you being here, but yeah, maybe just slow down on the chats a little bit. Would you rather? Would I rather what? Shots fired, yeah. Okay. So that's done. When dragging a card during combat, oh, that's going to be an annoying one. I don't want to address that one right now. Shop events sometimes appear after being purchased. Oh, this is going to be a fun one. Shop artifacts have no tooltip. Let's do this one. So let's do this. Run map generator. Upgrade card shop. So assign node types to test. Run manager. Currency manager dot add blood. 100. And then I got to go here. Project settings. Generate test map. Okay. He's farming XP. It caps you if you spam. I figured your timer was a float that added delta during your battle manager's process, then an if statement. If it's over a certain threshold, then it can handle speed by multiplying the delta. No, I have a slightly different approach, which is I modify the duration of a Godot timer based on the game speed, which is the same effect, but it might be better to do it that way, to create my own timer for that. What in the heck? What? I don't know. I get some weird emails sometimes where it's like, what even is that? One of the most interesting spam emails I get to my admin@firebelly.com email address is like people trying to sell me e-bikes. I'm like, is this a thing? Like, are you really getting that many e-bike sales from just spamming people's email inboxes? Like, that's such a weird thing. It's like, first of all, I've never even had a desire for an e-bike. And second of all, like, I'm not going to buy an e-bike because you sent an email to my email address. Like, what? If I want an e-bike, I'm just going to go to Google and search for one. I don't know. It's kind of weird. But anyway. So yeah, the problem here is if I buy this enchant and then I go and apply the enchant, and I come back, the problem is that it reappears. See? Why is that happening? Are Godot node timers built better than hard-coded timers? They have some limitations, like the fact that they can't be zero length. Also, they have precision issues. So if you needed to like have a very precise timer, let's say that you had a very small amount of time remaining on the timer, like 1/1000th of a second or whatever. What would happen is on the next frame, Godot would emit that timeout signal, but there would be no rollover value. So there wouldn't be like an extra value logged for how long that frame duration was. So it's imprecise in that manner. So if you need like the absolute precision of like being very precise about the time and timing, you'd be better off writing your own timer. But yeah. Got your method working, that's what really matters. Yeah, I think I probably am going to have to change to that kind of style, but I'm craving an e-bike now, yeah. How to make my own scheduler system to avoid too many timer nodes, yeah. Yeah. I know a lot of people, I mean, timers are relatively easy to write yourself, so. All right, let's go to the shop container. So the issue is probably in here, in this play in here. Oh, maybe it's this. No, if it's purchased, it should return straight out of this. Oh. Oh, I think I know what's happening. Do I know what's happening? I think when this clickable coordinator enables mouse input, it is assigning a new material to that object, which is causing it to reappear. So I think what needs to happen in here is I just need to do I need to remove the clickable coordinator? I mean, enable mouse input, the clickable coordinator. When I do let's see, remove input lock here, it's going to set the mouse input locks. That's going to emit signal input enabled. I don't know. I actually don't know if that's the issue. Let me go back in and see. It's not enabled, so it's not becoming enabled again. How is that happening? I don't know. I didn't even know how that's working. Let's see. Add input lock. Mouse input locks. Oh, this is a clickable control itself. Interesting. So it's adding an input lock there. Honestly, I think the easiest thing to do here would be to... So this event pedestal, this is a clickable control here. I think the best thing to do would be to just hide the canvas group. Where's this is visible? Why do I need this is visible? This is going to be a little bit confusing, actually. I'm going to do this. Await, or no, async. Await that, and then do canvas group dot visible equals false. I think I can just do that. I think that will fix it. So now if I do this, and I go in here and I purchase that, I skip. Okay, that's working great. If I purchase that and then I go out here, purchase that, go here. Okay, I think that's all working. Yeah, that's fixed now. Okay, good. That is fixed. Goodness gracious. fix event pedestals reappearing after purchase. Can you briefly explain how your clickable control works? It looks pretty neat. Yeah, so the clickable control does a couple of things. So the first thing it does is it manages the input state. So basically it's just a control node. It's a reference rect, but that's a control node that handles mouse events. But it also handles whether there's a mouse input lock, which means that it's disabled or enabled. And the reason why I don't just use the mouse filter is because I still want to enable detecting clicks on the clickable area, even if the click is not valid. Well, I guess that's a different thing. So I can change the mouse filter. So when the input becomes disabled, it doesn't accept any events. But I also have these validators that I can add that will allow me to click on something even if it's invalid. So that's two parts of the input handling. So when the mouse input locks change, it will detect whether it's becoming newly clickable or newly not clickable. And the reason for that too is that typically in Godot, if you change a control node from having a mouse filter of ignore to a mouse filter of stop, and your mouse is contained within that area, it won't emit any mouse entered signals until the next time you move the mouse. So what this clickable control does is that it will detect when it has been newly enabled, and then it will also do this contains mouse check when that happens. So here, and then it forces an on mouse entered call if it becomes newly clickable and the mouse is inside. So that just is a user experience thing. Yeah, I don't know if I'm really explaining this that well, but those are the main things. And then the other thing that it does is it manages a material that gets assigned to its outline target. So there's an export variable here, an outline target, which is a canvas item. And based on what the type of that canvas item is, it will assign appropriate materials to it based on the clickable state or not. So the materials will be like the animated outline shader that shows you that something is clickable, the outline shader that happens when you hover over something, and that can either be white or red depending on the validity of the clickable. So it basically just does all of that stuff all together in this script. So I don't know if that's super helpful, but is there a reason to not queue free the pedestal after a successful purchase? Yeah, I don't want to modify the state of the nodes inside of the shop container here. I could change that to happen, but yeah, I was doing that in a previous iteration of the shop container, and I moved away from doing that for some reason. I think because I just didn't want to manage the states of individual nodes and whether they were available or not. I think it's just easier to treat every node as if it always exists in the tree and just like not display it if necessary. But what's for lunch today? I don't know. I'm probably just gonna have some like nuts and fruit. Probably. I'm having crayfish for dinner though, so that's gonna be delicious. All shop icons on the map kind of look like the same kind of Twisted Horror pumpkin patch. Yeah. How do you handle singleton autoload classes with C#? It's the same as you would do in Godot. You just, it has to be a node, but then you can have static variables in here. So like I have a static instance member, and then I just assign that to the reference when it gets loaded. And that's it. And then I can have static methods in here. How's your stream? Hello, Kelso. It's going well. Thank you. How are you doing? How are you doing? So I think, let's see. Yeah, we're at 2 hours now, so I think it actually is time for lunch. I'm getting hungry. I also have some part-time work to do, so that'll be it for the stream. But thank you everyone for watching. Thank you all for being here. I very much appreciate it as always. And again, I've got my new Create a Complete Online Co-op Multiplayer Game in Godot 4 course. Crayfish confirmed for Northerner. Yeah. It says crayfish on the package. What do you want from me? But yeah, so check this course out if you want to learn how to build a complete game in the Godot engine, especially if you want to learn online multiplayer. But I also have my other courses. I got a Vampire Survivors style game course, as well as a C# course. So all of those are linked below. And if you end up purchasing those, that's going to help me quite a bit. But also, you're going to learn a lot. So if that's something that you've been interested in, then definitely give that a shot. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Thank you all for watching. I very much appreciate it. And I will see you. I may do a bonus stream tonight again. We'll see. So if you want to be let in on the bonus streams, you're going to have to hit the notification bell because I don't announce them and they're not on a set time. But I will be streaming again for sure. Oh, wait. Nope, I will not be streaming tomorrow morning, at least not at the usual time. So yeah, hit the notification bell to be notified when I go live next. And I will see you next time. Okay, bye-bye.